Billy, how you getting on, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Very well, brother. Very well. How was your
Oh,
day?
nice. Thank you. Let me talk. Yeah, busy. Had a lot on this morning, and then just family and some friends in Savo, and
Yeah, nice.
had one in Perth on the weekend, so it was pretty full on. So
Oh, did you go for the cricket? Oh,
nah, we had some family stuff on. Got back in late last night, but the
yeah,
young bloke is definitely ready for bed tonight. That's for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. I can imagine, mate. I can imagine. That's good stuff, mate. Good stuff. Jamie, how you getting on?
I'm good. I'm sewing individual leaves onto my dress.
Excellent. Lot of exciting stuff coming up this year.
Yeah, it's a big year.
Yeah, yeah. I know when you write it all out on get it all out on paper or you get it all out in front of you, it's there's a bit happening. So it's good. It's exciting. Does
Yep.
that does that did that vision or that kind of visual representation, did that help?
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. I'm like a visual person, so
Yeah,
seeing it all out, it makes it easier to understand.
yeah, absolutely. And like if you've read, I don't know if you've read Atomic Habits, and like that's one of the books that on I can honestly say has really had a massive impact on just habits and behaviors in general, but just like a real positive impact on my overall, I don't know, better operating system, I would say, just living a better life since I read that book. I really do need to go back to it. But he is big on visual cues. So if you're really trying to work towards something or you're really trying to instill new habits, new behaviors, a new identity, whatever that looks like, um, he talks about having it like that in your environment wherever you are. So make it the background on your phone. Stick it in your bathroom mirror. Stick one to your fridge. Whatever it is. That like is it a vision board? Is it goals? Is it whatever it is for what we're talking about, Jamie? Obviously, it's the kind of the 12-month roadmap kind of thing of where you're coaching or what you've got on in your life, but then how your fitness side of that is going to complement those things that you have going on as well. And it creates that inspiring vision. It creates something to get excited about, and it's something that you see often enough that just reminds you, hey, we're working towards something here, which I've always found to be really useful. And I'm very much a visual person as well, so it definitely helps me. And like I said, I have these things in the background on spreadsheets and stuff like that anyway. But if people like that visual kind of cueing, then I'm more than happy to facilitate that as well. So yeah, just reach out at any point and we can kind of go through those types of things. But no, that's excellent. Courtney, how are you, mate? You all doing all good? Going well, mate? Happy days. Good stuff. Um, does anyone have any questions surrounding anything that's been going on this week? I think a few less people, obviously. I think there's quite a number of people away for the long weekend, but that's all good. Does anyone have any questions surrounding anything, any dramas, any issues? Not all good. So a couple of things to go through. The Pocket PT series that I've been doing. So I recorded a heap of videos and edited them today, and I was pretty happy with how that's kind of coming along. So I've got 9 videos in there now, just common kind of exercises. If there's anything that you guys would like me to break down in any more detail, just let me know in your check-in, send me a WhatsApp, whatever it is that you feel like you'd like me to break down in a little bit more detail. Obviously, we would those videos on the app, it's only going to be a minute video because if every exercise had a 4-minute video, it just it's not going to work. That's not what we want, and you don't need that for a bicep curl or the things that are easy to you. But it's good to have another resource to go. Geez, this RDL or this dumbbell press or this exercise that I'm struggling with. I could do with a little bit more explanation or whatever there, and the queuing and stuff like that is like how I would queue that if we were in person as well. So obviously there's the opportunities for when we do the in-person stuff here, myself and our in-person sessions, our technique sessions. But I just want to make sure that there's as many opportunities to get a refinement on your technique because outside of nutrition, once we get the nutrition side of things kind of nailed on and we find that system that works for us, the next thing that really levels up your your results. Like the difference between like good results and exceptional results is like the execution in the gym. You know, is the people who learn the skills and then take that skill to another level in terms of bringing a bit of intensity and things like that as well. Like if you really want to push it, then or you really want to push what's possible, then you know learning how to do things with a high degree of efficiency is really, really important. And I just think from the perspective of if I'm going to be doing something, geez, I would like to be doing it well. You know what I mean? Like it makes sense to be putting everything or to be getting everything that I can from it as well. So yeah, if there's anything at all, and like guys, with anything, I'm completely open to suggestions. Like there's obviously a feedback form that we go through kind of after the first 4 weeks. You'll get that in the app that will get rolled out to you. And then there'll take on other opportunities for feedback throughout the program as well. Like I'm more than happy and more than open to that as well. But I need that feedback from you. What do you want to see, and if I can facilitate it, I'll find a way to facilitate it and make sure that we've got those resources there. Is there anything off the top of the head that anybody would like to see or anything like that you get any ideas around? All good. Hmm. Okay. Happy days. Cara, how are you? I just seen you jumped in.
Yes, I'm good. Thank you. Sorry, a bit of trouble connecting there.
No,
How
no,
are
you're
you?
you're fine. I'm absolutely fine. I'm great, thank you. And that's the thing with these calls, Cara. Like, there's no expectation. Even if you had, for example, if you had a question to come on and ask, you can come on and say, "Hey, can I ask a quick question?" And then if you had to go, you can go. There's no
Oh, cool.
expectation. Yeah, yeah. There's no expectation to come and sit here through the whole duration. I'll be here regardless. But if people have to jump on, jump off, I know some people are putting their kids to bed and things like that as well. So it's no issue whatsoever. It's just here as another opportunity for us. Okay. How's everything going? Are you okay with everything this week?
Yeah, just been a big couple of weeks, so I haven't really been on top of things, but definitely, yeah, set some new sort of priorities for the coming week, and hopefully we'll start to set up a bit more of a routine now.
Yeah, that's it. It's just one small step in the right direction, and that's the main thing. No,
Yeah,
yeah, no pressure on it at all. Good, excellent,
thank you.
good stuff, good stuff. All right. So obviously, when I've been speaking, probably in check-ins in recent times, and even on these calls, probably dropped it in a few times around having a kind of a system or a like if we think about nutrition, like we all love, variety, new things and all the rest of it. Some more than others. But in general, we're going to have like our kind of go-tos that just are things that we just generally kind of gravitate towards. I know, like for me, my kids enjoy like the same stuff. You try to bring in something new, and they're like, "Oh, what is that?" So you just kind of stick to a lot of the same stuff a lot of the time. And generally, like if I have something that works, it stays in for quite a while as well. Now, what that looks like to me is like whatever environment I'm in, wherever I am, I know I can make a good decision, and I know what kind of a good meal looks. Even not necessarily what it looks like, just because I've tried this out and tested it out, and then I've been like, right, cool. A Subway, if I'm out and about, getting a Subway, a 6-inch double meat Subway is cool. That I don't feel like I'm restricting food or anything like that there. It's just the difference between going to Subway and getting cookies, a foot long, a Coke, and all the rest of it. Just go and get a 6-inch bottle of water, happy days, you're all good. So it's like having those systems around you. And that's why I created this little document that'll run us through, okay? And it's supposed to be like a no-brainer. Everything we want it to be easy. Like we don't want it to be something that requires lots of like brain power and thinking about things, and like we don't want it to be that. It should be easier than that. If it's easy, like when I speak to people for the first time, they'll often say things like, "Oh, I like to take the easy option." We all like to take the easy option. And they put that as a slant on themselves, but we're all lazy. Human beings are lazy creatures. We always look for easy ways, shortcuts, and not like that's why all these marketing things that are marketed and like, oh, this is the next best thing, or this is the next shortcut to wherever you're trying to get to. That's why these things work. You know what I mean? Just letting someone else in, just because that's us. We're inherently lazy creatures. So this is the idea. So it's how you can eat well without thinking, remove that decision fatigue, and just stay consistent. That's what it is. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it just has to be somewhat consistent. So can everybody see this document here? Yeah. All right, let's rip in. So again, it's to give us an idea of what good looks like, and what good looks like in terms of being on the road. Ideal scenario, you've got a bit of meal prep done, you're organized, happy days. Like, then what's the next layer down from that? And then the next layer down again, and the next layer down again. And then what happens if you're, at work, or you're out and about, or you don't have any food with you, or where are the things you go? So then instead of going, what can I have? You just go like, well, my option A isn't there. Is my option B there? Is my option C there? And you just scan those things, and you just go pick one and you go and execute. You don't even think about it. You don't. It's when you think about what can I have that decision fatigue starts to come in. So again, if we're looking at kind of what good looks like, if we break up the golden rule that we kind of have with protein intake is going to be about 10 grams of protein per 100 calories. That's a kind of good golden rule to have. If we look at our meals, that's a kind of good way to go. And then if we look at 40 to 50 grams of protein for about 500 calories is probably a decent way to kind of break your meals up. If you break your 3 meals a day and a snack into that, then for most people that's going to work well. You know what I mean? You're going to be there or thereabouts. Women, that might be 3 meals, roughly about 1,500 calories or whatever. They're maybe slightly smaller meal sizes. Again, guys are going to be around 2,000 calories and upwards. Probably not going to be dieting on too much less than 17, 16, 1,700 calories would probably be the absolute lowest that you would be going. So it just gives you a framework, and even something that you can break up your day with as well. So then you kind of know what you should have left at the end of a day, or what you should have allocated in terms of for a meal. And how you can just pick something to plug that gap. Okay. So obviously option one would be the easiest. The easiest option would be something that you can cook once and eat twice or more, which is going to be like a meal prep option. Now, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I can't really see past the slow cooker options. It has very low nutritional or culinary skill requirement, which is a big tick for me. It doesn't need a lot of prep. It doesn't need a lot of it needs a bit of time for it to cook, but then you get like 11 meals worth out of it because it makes that much food. And I know Courtney I think that's what yours did. Yours have used, or I don't know if it is one of the slow cooker ones, but it was one of the meals from the app, wasn't it? That makes like a bulk quantity. It just makes things a lot easier when you've got a lot of meals there set up for you, ready to go. You just succeed by being in that environment. You've created a positive environment for yourself, and then it makes it dead easy. So like the slow cooker things worked really well for me. If it's not that, then it's like what does that meal look like? What does it consist of? We need to have protein in there. We need to have some micronutrients probably from some vegetables, and then carbs and fats are just purely dietary preference and caloric preference, basically, at any given time, and it could be a combination of the two, just depending on where calories are at. And then looking at, kind of common protein options that we're going to have, especially even for the meal prep stuff: chicken breast, chicken thighs, extra lean beef mince, turkey breast, or kangaroo, whether it's minced steaks, burgers, whatever it is. So like, if you take anything that you enjoy, like cheeseburgers, like you can make a low calorie option and a high protein version of that by just swapping kangaroo burgers for normal like beef burgers, which would be very high in fat and therefore very high in calories. Similarly, if you want to make, homemade chicken parmies or something like that, and used, your own chicken breast, and you control the breadcrumbs or however you like to crumb it and things like that. I think there's in the app we made the chicken burgers. When did we do that? Just before I went to Dubai. Myself and Ashley made them, and it's the cornflakes crumbed chicken thing that you make like the cornflakes, almost like a kind of batter, and then crumb the chicken in that and put it in the air fryer, and you make these like crispy chicken burgers that were, again, it was about like all those meals in that in those cookbooks, they're about 500 calories, and it was like a giant chicken burger. Like it was, you were absolutely chockers after it. And it's normal food. You know what I mean? So you can just by adding in a leaner protein option, you're going to probably save a few calories. Okay, so again, then if we look at the next option, so I don't have my meal prep. What's the next layer down? A heat and eat option is really good. Like having these in the freezer, just a couple of these in the freezer, just to be like, if it goes to absolute shit today, I know I've got one of these in the freezer that I can get to. I can fire it in the microwave, and we're kind of good to go. The Papa Macros ones, they sell them in World Gym, or they did sell them in World Gym. They might not anymore, but they do deliver to Bustleton as well. And they come, I'm pretty sure they come fresh. These FroPro protein pots, I haven't actually tried, but I've heard very, very good things about them. I've tried their protein pizzas before, which are, no bad. But again, just something to get you out of jam. If you're like worst case scenario, because it's when the decision fatigue's high, it's when the kids are sick, or meal prep's kind of gone by the wayside. We can't hinge our success on it's either meal prep or nothing, because sometimes meal prep doesn't work. And by the way, sometimes it's nice to just maybe not meal prep for the week. Like myself and Ashley have even spoke about it, just getting a few of those Papa Macros for the week, 1 week, and then not having to worry about, prepping loads of food on a Sunday, and maybe having a wee bit more time on a Sunday or whatever it may be. That being said, our meal prep for our whole family generally only takes us about an hour and a half. So it's just about what can we grab? What can we grab and go? What could we get? We could go into any Coles, any Woolies, any Aldi, and we could pick up something like this, a high protein kind of ready heat and eat meal. If you had access to a microwave, that is, of course. So what do I have near me? What's the best decision that I can make at any given time? Then we're looking at kind of, okay, now we're looking at a grab and go option. So protein yogurts, these high protein smoothies, jerky, biltong, tuna pouches, boiled eggs, if you had, access to things like that. And then what could you just throw together with that to kind of bring you up to 500 calories and about 40, 50 grams or about 40 odd grams of protein, say, for example. So throw in a bit of fruit in there, obviously a bit of micronutrients as well, some cut veggies or whatever that you can usually buy, those snack pack type things from the shops as well. Throwing in a wee bit of nut butter or something like that, nut butter on rice cakes and some banana sliced on top with a protein shake, happy days. That's going to be in and around that kind of 500 calorie mark. A small wrap or a sandwich, again, you could throw that together with a protein shake to kind of bring that protein up. Might be a little bit higher calories than, say, you might go above. You might be 550, close to 600 calories. Fuck. At the end of the day, that's not going to kill you. What's going to kill you is either not eating at all, skipping altogether, and then being absolutely ravenous later, or just going, fuck, it's too hard, I'll just go to Macca's. You know what I mean? So it's just about having something that you can think like that you've tried or willing to try, and go, by the way, if I go to Woolies, I'm just going to grab this and this. So you go into Woolies, you don't start wandering the aisles looking for what looks good. You're just going in for, it's like going in with a shopping list. You just go in, get your thing, and you go. All right. And it makes, again, it's about removing that decision fatigue. Then it's petrol station. So if I can make a good decision at a petrol station, then I think you can make a good decision anywhere. And this is what I'm saying. Like, there's always some petrol stations you get the protein yogurts. Most of them you all get the kind of ready to drink protein shakes. So you can get one of them. They've got the protein bars and stuff like that there as well. There's usually some fruit that you can get your hands on. A bit of jerky there as well can keep you on the right track. Again, protein shake, banana, protein bar, coffee, something like that. Pretty safe. And then, I mean, I wouldn't even really say damage control, but again, a sandwich and a protein shake might be slightly higher calories, might be, maybe not the exact macronutrients that we're looking for, but we're going to be in the ballpark. Like, close enough is good enough for a lot of these things, especially if we're thinking like at a petrol station where it's like, we just have to try and make a good decision here. Like, we can only really work with the tools that we have at our disposal. So it's just about, what is around me, what is the best decision that I can make here, and is it checking the boxes? We're always going to go for protein first, because we know that that's the most satiating macronutrient. We know that that's going to keep us fuller for longer. So that's going to subside a whole lot of snacking and the subsequent decisions that kind of come after that. So that's obviously why protein is, or one of the reasons why protein is so important. Another reason is we don't store protein anywhere in the body apart from in our muscle cells. So we don't want to be having to catabolize or break down lean mass to, because your body's trying to hit homeostasis, right? So your body's trying to find that equilibrium irrespective of what you do. So if your body's like, well, we're going to break down some muscle mass or some lean tissue to get to meet our protein requirements for the day, your body's just going to do that. Now think about how hard we work in the gym to be building muscle mass. Like we don't want to be giving it up so easily, and that's why protein again is so highly important. Whereas we think about carbohydrates, we store them as glycogen in the muscle and in the liver, sorry, and dietary fats we store as, or fats we store as adipose tissue around the body. So we've always got access to those things generally, but we don't store protein. Okay. And that's obviously one of the main reasons there. Now, if we look at some takeaway options, any of these like Guzman Y Gomez or Zambreros or any of those types of things, they all have good things there. You just have to make a decent choice with what's at your disposal. So look for a lean protein. Go heavy on the salad, increase the volume with the salad, and then add a salsa or one of the like lighter sauces, a hot sauce or something like that. Even like honey mustard and things from Subway, like the kind of lighter, lower calorie sauces are going to do well there. And then either cheese or guacamole, not both, just because your calories are going to go up from that. And then most of those bowls are going to be around 500-600 calories for about 40 to 50 grams of protein. They're going to be very much in the ballpark. So then it's like, again, if you're out and about, is there a Guzman Y Gomez? Is there a Zambreros? If I'm driving to Perth and I stop at the service station on Forest Highway there, that's got a Boost Juice, but you can get the kind of Gym Junkie protein smoothie, which is pretty good, pretty filling, or else you can get one of these burrito bowls. Again, pretty decent option rather than getting a KFC, which is also there as well. So it's just about making the best decision that you can. Like I said, I've spoke about the Subways, a 6-inch double meat. Go heavy on the salad, and then just choose a lighter sauce, hot sauce, honey mustard, marinara, something like that. If you go to somewhere like grilled, so like even having like, if you're going to go for a cheap meal or a meal out, and even having like this predetermined thing that you're going to go and do. So whenever I go for a grilled, I know I can get a Hot Bird burger, and I can get the healthy fried chicken bites or whatever, like 9 of them or 12 of them or whatever it is, and it works out to be about 900 calories for about 90 grams of protein. So like bang on what we'd look for. And all I do is then, if I've got a meal, my dinners are usually about, say, 500-600 calories. Effectively, I'm not having my dinner, I'm having that instead. So I've only really went over by 300 calories for the day. That's not even maintenance for the day. Even if I'm dieting, I'm going to be probably dieting on a 500 to 700 calorie deficit per day. So even if you had and most of you guys are probably around about a 500 calorie deficit per day. So even if you have 1,000 calories for that meal out, who cares? Because that is just one day that you're not in a deficit. You're just at maintenance for that day. Now your weight will shoot up because you've had extra glycogen, extra sodium. You're going to retain a bit more water. But the mathematics, so your scale weight could jump up by like 1.5 kilos. But the mathematics just does not support that you've put on 1.5 kilos of body fat. So you just, we don't even worry about that thing. Just that comes out in the wash 2 days later, your body weight drops away back down again, and we don't even worry about it. But what that does do is that gives us a little bit of a reset, and that can give us something where we just go, do you know what? Like the dieting for a while, I've been dieting for a few weeks or whatever it may be. Having a meal out like that just it doesn't do anything from a metabolic perspective, but it does something from a behavioral perspective where you just feel like you've had a break. So those are kind of good options there. So again, you don't go, what's good? You're like, where is one of these places? Where's a Subway? Where's one of these Mexican type places? Or where's a grilled, and having these options. And you can make great choices in most places, you know what I mean? Like I think there's people on social media who say Macca's and all those types of things. You can probably do things that aren't too terrible there as well. It's probably not where I would go for my choice of cheap meal, but each to their own. Again, pub meals generally going to be probably about 700-800 calories if we're going to the pub. So then I just always think can I get a steak, salad, and veg? That's what I would get if I was going to get something from the pub. And then that means if I get a steak, salad, and veg, I don't drink. But if I drank, I could have a beer with that as well. You know what I mean, or a glass of wine with that as well. If you're going to get like a palmy or something like that, then it's like, right, okay, I'm not going to. I've went a bit heavier on the meal, so I'm just going to go a wee bit lighter on the drink. Do you know what I mean? So you just make that decision with yourself. It's like, oh, if I fancy having a beer as well, then it's like, right, cool, I'll make a better decision with the food and bank a few calories there. Then I'll have a beer or two, and then happy days. Don't worry about it. Again, if it's 1,000 calories for the day, or 1,000 calories for that meal, you're probably only 500 calories over. You're probably just at maintenance for the day. So again, one day at maintenance isn't going to erase a week's worth of good progress because you've still had 6 days of the week where you've been in a deficit. And actually, a lot of the times, can a day at maintenance, maybe not every single week, but like if we look at diet breaks or strategic refeeds, what that does is promotes further adherence because you don't feel like you're being restricted. So you feel like you've kind of scratched the itch in terms of having something that's a little bit off plan or something that you enjoy or whatever it is, like a little bit of indulgence. So then you're like, right, cool, I'm ready to knuckle down again. But if you've been dieting really hard 8, 10, 12 weeks, you know, how a refeed would work would just be you're a lot more disciplined in the weeks after the refeed. There's nothing metabolic, there's nothing, reset the metabolism or all these types of things that you hear people saying. There's none of that happening. It just promotes good adherence because it is a bit of that break and you let some of that diet fatigue dissipate. So again, just recapping, meal prep, first option, a heat and eat would be the second. Or even, ingredients that I can cook if I was at home. Then a heat and eat, then a grab and go. Then what can I do at a petrol station? What can I do at a takeaway? What can I do in the pub? Think about the environments that you frequent the most, or even the places where you think you might come up against the biggest bottleneck. And then it's like, right, I need to think of a good decision for there. And if you're sitting there struggling right now and you're struggling to think, you can do one or two things. You can bring it up now and we can try and problem solve it and go through it right now. Or you can put it in your check-in. You can communicate it to me at any point. By the way, I'm always going here, or I'm going out here for the weekend. Like, what would be a kind of good option for me to have here? And I'll just give you an idea. Like, I'll jump on, I'll have a quick look at the menu and say, if I was you, this is what I'd be doing. But this isn't going to kill you. That's not going to kill you. None of it's really going to kill you. But if you're looking to stay on track and continue your progress, then it's like, what's the best decision that I could make? I'll rank them, 1 to 3 for you or whatever as well, just so you've got that idea. The whole idea is that you have that support around you, that you know exactly what you need to do. You shouldn't be going to these situations. You shouldn't be in a situation where you don't know how to make a good decision. And if you don't, that's the education that we're here to build. So then it's on you to make that good decision. I can't make you make the good decision, but I can certainly educate you on what that would look like for you in order to continue making really, really good progress. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. Your challenge can be, your environments that you frequent the most, the places that you frequent the most, the places that you think, well, maybe it works against you. Like I had a guy who worked in a hospital. The hospital cafeteria just wasn't brilliant. You know what I mean? So then it's like, right, okay, what can we do there to get a wee bit organised? Well, there's a Woolies or there's a Coles or something close to the hospital. Cool. We're going to just have to go there and grab a heat and eat from there. That's going to be our go-to. Like our worst case scenario, if we're not prepped, and oftentimes that's where he ended up. That became his kind of standard anyway, standard go-to. But we're not going to rise to this glorious level, this new ceiling. It's about what's the lowest standard that I can allow myself to fall on. Where's the floor? Instead of raising the ceiling, can I raise the floor? And that's a good way to kind of think about it. Okay. So again, just to recap, about 500 calories per meal is going to be, for about 99% of people, that's going to be roughly where we're thinking. That's going to be pretty good, especially for try to get something on the run. About 40 to 50 grams of protein, 10 grams of protein per 100 calories, or there or thereabouts, in the ballpark there is going to be really good. Start with the biggest bottleneck, the place that you feel like kind of trips you up the most, and then trickle it down from there. Once you have a system for each common environment, and then you'll get a wee Brucey boat, but just because you'll get used to the fact of making good decisions more often, then when you get somebody throws you a little curveball, you'll go in there and you'll just make a good decision anyway, because you just know what good looks like because you've been doing it for so long, and you've been seeing the return on that. Now it comes from when you make these good decisions and you see your progress continue. You go out for a meal out and you weigh in the next week, or you do your check in the next week, and like, geez, I had a meal out in the weekend, but I look better than I did last week. And it's like, yeah, that's the point. This is where we're trying to get to. We shouldn't have to live like a bodybuilder to get really, really great results. So that's ultimately the destination where we're trying to arrive at. All right. Does anybody have any questions around anything that I have went through here so far?
I do, if that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
Is there sort of like easy way, and I'm thinking like an app or something that would help you calculate calories if you have no idea and are cooking something from home, like something that's not in a packet
Yeah. So
or that's not necessarily a recipe that you've sort of just thrown together?
yeah. So what you can do is break down the ingredients. So in MyFitnessPal, have you seen the video that I put in there about creating the custom meals?
Yeah.
So you could create a custom meal that basically
Okay.
had every ingredient that you had. So you just search those ingredients, you put it in once, and then you divide that into however many portions it is. Now I'll give you an example, okay? So if I make, say, spaghetti bolognese, okay, so a bolognese is like a staple in my house, so that's why it's
Yeah.
always the example that I use. But so I'll cook it with a kilo of mince. All right, now I'm looking for about 40 grams of protein per serving. Now, a 200-gram portion of uncooked mince is 40 grams of protein. So then I know that in that meal, in that kilo of mince that I'm making my bolognese with, I know that I'll get 5 servings in there. So what I would do, what I have done, and this is what works well, or you only need to do this once and then you've got a system for it, okay? So I cook the bolognese, um, I put in the mince, the veggies, tomatoes, whatever else is in there. Happy days. Obviously pasta, whatever will be separate, but just purely the bolognese. Now I've cooked everything up, and then all I need to do is I could. I've weighed that once. You can do two things. You can separate it into 5 containers, and then you can see. Then that's you've evenly spaced it out. Or what I've personally done is just weigh that whole meal. So if that whole thing makes 2 kilos worth, for example, then I know I've got 5 400-gram portions, okay, within that two, and I know 400-gram portion is going to have the veggies and all the other stuff in it, but that is a serving, that is one serving, which is going to contain 40 grams of protein. So then what I figure out is, well, what is a 400-gram portion size, and I get a measuring cup, and I go like, a measuring cup is a full measuring cup is like about 180 or something like that. All right, like, okay, cool. Then it's probably 2 heaped measuring cups. So every time I make bolognese, I cook it the same way. And when I serve it now, I don't weigh it. I just go, every time I scoop myself out, I scoop out 2 measuring cups worth, and that's my bolognese side. And then whatever I have with pasta, then happy days, I just add the pasta in there as well. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, so basically, yeah, you would just need to sort of weigh it the first time you do it, and then as long as you sort of do it at the same time, weigh every time, it's okay. But I guess the way to figure it out is you can put it in to MyFitnessPal and it will do it for you, but you have to weigh it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or just divide it if you had it in containers and you were going to make it into containers. Like if you know you're using a kilo of chicken and you're
Yeah.
like, right, okay, a kilo of chicken is the same thing. That's got 5 40-gram portions, 40-gram servings of protein in that kilo. Then it's
Yeah.
like, right, cool, I know I've got 5 servings in this meal. So however much your total protein is, you just divide that up by however many servings you're looking to have. You know what I mean? Or however much protein, like the size of the serving would be dependent on how much protein you're looking to have for a meal. So you're looking to hit that 40-gram protein mark, for example. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
probably explained that in the worst way possible, but
No, it makes sense. I'm just thinking like, for example, like a snack like you were talking about with, say, veggie sticks and the nut butter.
yeah.
If I wanted to, like, I could make that a regular thing. And if I wanted to do the custom meal in MyFitnessPal, then I would do, like, for example, I would weigh the veggie sticks to begin
That-
with, and I would just know. No.
I would see, like you could just search like
Okay.
you just search a cup of veggies, or a cup of carrots, or a cup of whatever that you're using. You'll realize that there's bugger all calories in it. That like
Yeah.
the veggies.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, but like I'm just saying from the
Yeah.
perspective of you don't want to make it too hard on yourself. You want to make
Okay.
it
Well,
as-
that's I'm just like, oh, I would have no idea of how many calories are in a
Yeah.
steak, and I don't generally weigh steak, but I
no.
guess yeah.
No, but again, so you just read the packet and it'll be like,
Yeah.
all right, this is a like I'll get the rump steaks from the markets and they're like that's like a kilo rump or whatever it is, and I just kind of try and cut them into 200-gram portions
Yeah.
effectively. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just trying to cut them into five portions, but I put my hand there and I'm like, right, if I do one there, one cut there,
Yeah,
one
yeah.
cut, like
It
close.
doesn't have to be perfect. I
No,
guess, yeah.
no,
It's just
no.
when I can't find it, when it already comes up, I'm like, I would have no idea if I don't have the packet.
And then the thing is, you just search it. You can use MyFitnessPal as a Google search engine effectively.
Yeah.
And then the meals that have the green tick are like verified meals, so they're probably going to
Okay.
be closer and more accurate.
Sure, that's good
There's
to
going to be a high option. There's going to be a really high calorie version. There's going to be a really really low
Yeah.
calorie version. There's going to be there might be a few in the ballpark. Like the thing with MyFitnessPal, anybody can add a custom meal to it,
Yeah.
so it's like you can get a wide variety of different things in there. So just spend a wee bit of time looking. Usually there's going to be a green tick option. That's going to be good, or else you just look at the individual ingredients, save it
Yeah.
as a custom meal, and then that's just a quick add. That takes you 2 seconds to add because that's your kind of your go-to snack now.
Yeah.
And you can just add that in. And you'll figure it out pretty quickly. So like once you just start to put things in, it's like, oh right, okay, I kind of see now what good looks like. And then if you were like worried, like how far off is this? Even in MyFitnessPal, you can take a picture of it and it will scan the
Ah.
meal.
Cool.
Let's get like an AI thing. I don't think
I
it's
didn't realize that.
I don't think it's super accurate, but
Yeah.
again, it's just another reference point to check it off of. Then you can, like sometimes I'll just Google things as well. Like what is a typical,
Yeah.
what is a typical calories in a bolognese, a typical serving of bolognese, and then it'll just come
Yeah.
up. It's between
Yeah.
anywhere between 600 and 900 calories. Cool. Like that's like I know where the ballpark is for us here.
Yes.
And it makes it dead easy to be successful. And then from that, if we really well want to get a little bit more like, oh geez, I'm no, my weight isn't trending the way I would like it to wait. Well, then we're going to have to make one change to one thing anyway. So it's more important about the change, the consistency with the change, than it is to what you actually put in the app and how accurate that is. Because if you always serve it the same way and you always record it the same way, then it doesn't actually matter what the numbers are, because if they aren't heading in the right direction, we're just going to change things to suit that. That consistency becomes your accuracy over a longer period of time. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Thank you.
So yeah, so that's it there. No, good question. Anyone else? All good? Was that pretty clear? Did that help give you an idea? All good? Happy days. Johnny, how are you getting on, mate? It's good to see you. You forgot how to get yourself off mute? Wait, I'll see. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? You got it?
Oh, there we go. Hi, sorry.
How are you, mate?
Good, good.
How's
Um,
things?
Yeah, good. Just like it's funny just listening to the food thing there about step six, pretty much me for the past 4 weeks. They're not pub meals, but I going out for dinner and being stuck in not being able to do one or two or three pretty much. So
Yeah.
but
Just been in the UK, obviously.
yeah, just going out and meeting people and having lunches and dinners out and stuff. And
It's what it is, mate.
of it, but yeah, it's just like a big reset again. So
That's good,
Uh,
mate.
I think one of the things we do, like we do that Hello Fresh. I don't know if that would count as a number two, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So we just kind of struggled to do the meal prep. We started it for a while, but didn't really. Just with the kids and stuff.
It's whatever, Johnny. It's whatever works. It has to be whatever's easy for you. That again, this is why I don't believe in meal plans, because if I was to give you a meal plan, and I just did what every other coach did. I would just send you the food that I eat and the quantities that you need. That's what
Yeah.
people do when they send out a meal plan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and it's no like we've got all the AI tools and stuff like that are within the app as well, where you just like prompt it on the things that you enjoy, and it'll spit an answer back at you like as quick as you can type it, and you go again and it gives you more, then you go again, it gives you more. Like, and it's just about finding what good looks like for you, and then it becomes your operating system, but it has to be easy. That's the whole crux of it. It has to be easy. It has to be something that you can do on your worst day, or you have to have an option that you can fall back on worst case scenario. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if I can make a good decision at a petrol station, then I should be pretty good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, because like being back at work and I get the opportunity to cook and work, so I've not really got any excuses. And I usually do cook kind of fresh ingredients and stuff. But for example, the other night, I've just because of school holidays, been running about after the kids. I just nipped into Woolies and grabbed a couple of those ones that they've got and I wasn't sure what to get, and I went to the section that's got you the kind of, I don't know what they're called, like muscle chefs or whatever.
Yeah.
It tells you how many grams of protein, and I grabbed a couple of those and took them into work. I said the guys in work are like, "Oh my God, Johnny, what are you doing? You usually cook," but I was like, "Well, I didn't feel that bad because we're pretty good." And
They're not terrible. Like, I
yeah,
don't like
it's not like I went to KFC or anything. So
no, exactly, and it's a hell of a lot better than going to KFC.
yeah,
That's what you got to think about. You know what I mean? Like, and those things wouldn't be. They're no terrible options. They're maybe not as much volume as I would maybe like. And a meal like I
I've
said,
got
like
two of them. That's the thing. I've got two.
yeah, I
It's
would.
like spicy, I suppose, but
Yeah, exactly. And I've had boys in the past where I've tried to say to them about meal prep, and they're like, "Ah, I just can't get going with it." And I'm like, right, okay, these are the options. Then if you're not willing to cook, then
yeah,
this is what we've got in front of us. So then a lot of them ended up doing the meal preps, ended up doing the microwavable meals, the heat and eat type things. And then after a couple of months, one of the boys in his check-in was like, I'm spending a fortune on these microwavable meals. And I'm looking at the ingredients. I could just cook this dead easy. And then and I'm like, I wanted you to meal prep. We went a wee roundabout detour and we got you back to meal prepping. Do you know what I mean? Cooking your own food. So at the end of the day, we just have to check the boxes. We just have to, check those boxes and do something that's consistent and something that's moving you in the right direction. That's the main thing. All right.
yeah, definitely.
Excellent. All righty, guys. If we don't have any other questions, then I'll let you go. Thank you all very much for your time. And please do remember as well, for those who are in and around the Busselton area this weekend, on Saturday, we'll do the in-person sessions here at my home, at the gym here, and we can rip in and work through anything that you're struggling with, any exercise that you want to go through in general, or things that you feel like you would need more assistance with. Or, if you want to just come in and get a good, well-rounded view on a few things, then happy days, we can do that. And just another reminder about that Pocket PT series. If there's any other exercises that you'd like to see there, something that you'd like a bit more of a technical breakdown on, let me know. I'll make a video for it, okay? Excellent, guys. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, mate.
Take care. See you later.
See ya. Bye.